Minister, the member, you found the rental figures, you found the sheet. Members, government members, allow the opposition member. Minister, did the member find where the rental fees are in the book? No, I heard the member said she didn't see for hers. So I'm asking her to at least guide in terms of where first, so she have an appreciation for where it is picked up, and then she can delve.
I have not seen. Where can I find it? The vote for the rental properties.
Because it says others, are you to understand that?
What I notice here, I have seen others.
All right, member.
So I need clarity on this matter.
All right, so member, we will page four. Okay.
Member Shaw, you have any additional questions outside of the post office rental?
This is the only question I have at this time.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
No. While Minister is getting the answer, I will be moving to the next question. Thank you, member. Member Malahoo Fort.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question relates to activity 10279, page 1506. The activity supports the independent appraisal.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Could you just give give me a minute to finish to provide the answer to the member?
While you're looking for that, she need to make them. So, Minister.
All right, so I wanted to point her to the page in the estimates of expenditure where she would find the rental, and that's on page 15039-2. There's rental of property, and there 23. So again, page 15039-2. And also, I'm told that there is a post office in license that the owner has indicated that they want the post office to vacate that property because they want it for development. The post office is in the process of doing that. They are reporting that they do not owe any outstanding rental. But you're not listening. There's a property in license St. Thomas on which a post office is located. What has been reported to me is that the owner of the land has given notice and would like the post office to vacate because the owner wants to develop the land. And there are no issues with rentals, whatever, on that location.
Members, let us take a question from Member Malahoo Fort now. Member Malahoo Fort.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question relates to activity 10279, administration of internal audits. The activity supports the independent appraisal of the financial management and operational system within the Office of the Prime Minister, Office of the Cabinet, and Ministry of Tourism to improve and add value to the ministry's operations and ensure strong internal controls and efficient, effective use of resources.
Member, what page are you on, member?
1506.
806, 1500, 15,006. All right. Member, please ask your question again.
Question has to do with the ministries that are covered by this activity and whether each ministry has its own administration of internal audit.
Right. Okay. Member, I am pleased to report that this is a ministry that operates shared services, which is something that we would like to propagate across the government. But they are a pioneer in a ministry in this regard. So it's not spread across all of their ministries under the office of the Prime Minister. They operate with shared services.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Huh?
Member Nita Garvey.
Thank you. You forgot my name?
Oh, you know.
It's an indictment on you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is regarding the program which I loved so much and was hoping that by this point in time, I would have had my entire constituency properly electrified. So the rural electrification program started by the great Michael Joshua Manley. Hail a man, hail a man. Became, and by the time I came, I would like to have an opportunity to ask my question. Member from Denham Town? Yeah. Like, when I came to office in 2007, we were already about somewhere over 80 or 85% of the country being fully electrified, right? Then by 2016, I thought we were somewhere in the region of about 89, 90%, right? Or 90, 95%. Now, that went to Nestle, a failed entity, which just shut down with all of the projects that were in train. Minister, I must give you your props here, so. Because the last time that we were ever able to identify a sum allocated to a constituency was when you had a brief stint in that ministry. I must let you know. And that the project that you had identified then, when you allocated, I think it was $3 million to each constituency, certainly those of us in the rural areas, only finish this year. The project finished this year. And that project has still not been electrified because we're told JPS has too many other things to do, right? So been waiting all these years. Now, I am trying to find out, especially for the new members of parliament, now that the program has moved to the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, outside of writing to JSIF, because writing to JSIF means just sending in a letter indicating all the areas which need the service. What is the process to determine when these communities will be served? What is who determines the priorities? What is in the budget for this year for this project so that we can have an idea of what to tell those who sent us here as to when they're going to get extension of pole lines and wiring of their houses?
Notice how much leeway you got, member? All right. No, because I was going to call you the name before.
Okay. What's the process? What's the process?
Member of the person assigned to the member of parliament.
So Minister, in short, the wonderful member
All right, member.
want the rural electrification.
Electrification is close to my
Correction.
heart, even though I don't have a rural constituency, but I do have persons in the constituency who should be regularized. Not just Tidington, but in the constituency, St. Andrew Eastern. The budget for electrification is $400 million. And you asked what is the process. I understand that persons can apply to the MP, the Ministry of Science, or to JCIP to get it done. A correction on that number, it's 331, not 400 million.
Follow-up question from Gordon.
Question. Minister, don't you think, through you to the JCIP, that it would be fair and just to allocate to each constituency and a figure which they can now budget and plan around and be able to have discussions with their community groups, and we can anticipate action. We're now living in just hope and prayer that maybe somebody will bless me. I don't want that. You know, people elected us and we want to come here knowing that we can put our pots on fire for next year. You know, some I get and some not get. You know, all animals created equal, but some were equal than others. We want a system that will allow all of us to be able to reasonably plan and forecast on behalf of the people we serve.
So we would say, so I would say, you can do per household, but not necessarily.
Okay. No, man, you're going to do it per household.
Every MP can.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good news. JCIP will be able to do not the money allocation, but the number of households. So they can give each MP a certain number of households. Yeah, of households. Yes, a letter would come to you to say that you can select X number of households. This financial, I have room for this financial year, Omar. Omar, this financial year, you guys know, I mean, the next financial year, right? Yeah. This one, oh, the new one. Member, yes, it will be in the upcoming financial year.
Members, I know.
Hello, member from you.
Minister, I know
This
put head.
upcoming financial year.
I know
It will
put
happen
head
this upcoming
0300. Minister, I know put head 0100, 0200, 0300, 0500. Not 500 at all. I now put 1000. His Excellency the Governor General and Staff, 2,000, Houses of Parliament, 3,000, Office of the Public Defender, 5,000, Office of the Auditor General, 6,000, Office of the Services Commission, 07,000 Office of the Children's Advocate, 08,000 Independent Commission of Investigations, 9,000 Integrity Commission, 0, that's it. Head 10,000 Independent Fiscal Commission, 15,000 Office of the Prime Minister, 15,000 C, Office of the Prime Minister Capital Budget. What about this one?
This one.
Head 15,039, Post and Telecommunications Department. Member Crawford, you were here before, you know the procedure. Head 15,063, National Identification and Registration Authority. Head 16,000, Office of the Cabinet as amended. Head 16,049, Management Institute for National Development. Head 17,000, no, that's it. Think, no, and this was done before. Those are the heads, members, and all the attendant pages under each head. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. Who wants to ask a question outside? Who wants to?
But he has to stay. We have to stay. Oh, yes. Okay.
But, Chair, we will now take the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development and its various departments, and that will be led by Minister Robert Montague and Minister Robert Morgan.
All of that.
Minister Williams? Minister Williams? Thank you.
Mr. Minister, so we're going to sit down here.
Huh?
Minister, where are you sitting? I'm sitting right here. You have to sit. Yes. I don't want the place over there. You can't manage it. You can. I will take up and plug. Yeah, man, pace it up front, man. Pace it up front. Huh? Give me that squeeze. I am. You ready? You ready? What me and me? Everybody put their needle on, you know. Yeah?
The boat don't need land.
In the middle? Why?
Why you answer?
No, he's also a
What
minister. I am just playing support today.
Scarlett is here. Alright,
You can't ask a question.
Scarlett, I'm here to you.
No,
Scarlett.
and he may have got a question.
Tony, I ask you.
I'm an minister. I report to Bobby. Bobby, I'm his junior minister. So, are you minister?
Eh?
I am his minister of state. Bobby is my senior minister. Yes, Bobby is the senior minister.
Eh? Floyd.
Bobby is my senior minister. You didn't know that?
Hello. Anybody ask next? Be careful. What question you ask next time?
Them know.
I'm your
Them know. Of course. Why not? I want to pass on my picnic here at the time.
All right, members, let's quiet down. Let's make welcome the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development and its departments, head 19,000. Minister Montague and team, you may proceed.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair, honorable members of the House, accompanying us today from the Ministry of Economic Growth. Accompanying me today from the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development is Minister Robert Morgan, our Permanent Secretary Arlene Williams, and the heads of the different departments and agencies. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development, formerly the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, embodies a cohesive portfolio areas of works, ports, economic development, housing, urban renewal, land, national planning are reflective of the government of Jamaica's medium-term strategic priorities. The ministry has undergone a name change, which has seen the portfolio area of water, environment, and climate change being assigned to a new ministry. Notwithstanding this, the strategic focus of the ministry remains the same, and members are asked to note that with Jamaica's strong job creation gains and expanding capital program, the ministry has been renamed to sharpen its focus on sustained economic expansion and national resilience. There will be a renewed emphasis on land titling and settlement, empowering Jamaicans to become more productive and aiding in their contribution to economic growth. There is absolutely no doubt that a modern road infrastructure contributes to economic growth and development, and as such, the shared prosperity through accelerated improvement to our road network, SPARK, will be advanced in the upcoming financial year, and every member of this House has and will participate in that program. Will participate in that program. Honorable members, Hurricanes Beryl and Melissa, while presenting a challenge to our operations, have also presented opportunities for building back stronger. Of note are the commendable efforts by the ministry to utilize its capital budget, and we are on track, Madam Chair, to fully spending the capital allocations by the end of this financial year. Additionally, most of the 400 roads were cleared by the national land agencies within 5 days after being blocked, and ports reopened in record times. Oh, works agents. Land is on my mind. An allocation of 2.6 billion was received in the third supplementary estimates to treat with housing-related needs in response to Hurricane Melissa. Some of these funds were reallocated by a cabinet decision due to shipping, timing, and procurement logistics and to address other needs such as document recovery, expanding the social housing program, and addressing other housing issues, accelerated land titling, repairs to government building, among other items. Affordable housing will continue to be a focus in the upcoming financial year through the new social housing program, which will receive an initial allocation of $760 million. Honorable members, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development is a key implementer of capital projects. In the upcoming financial year, 21.8 billion is allocated under the budget head 1900C. While at first blush, this is a 19% decrease when compared to the 2025-26 revised estimates of 27.2 billion. Members are being asked to note that as projects currently undergoing the public investment appraisal process are approved, the ministry will be requesting budgetary support in 2026-27 accordingly. For the 26-27 financial year, there are 11 capital projects thus far, which are as follows: Electronic Land Titling, Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project, the Montego Bay Perimeter Road, the Montego Bay Waterfront Protection Project, Boosting Innovation, Growth and Entrepreneurship Ecosystems, Conserving Biodiversity and Reducing Land Degradation Using an Integrated Approach Project, the Troy Bridge, construction of the Portmore Resilience Park, establishment of the United Nations House, the Shared Prosperity through Accelerated Improvement to our Road Network SPARK, and the dualization of the Brayton Road and Hellshire Main Road from Nagozet Texaco Gas Station to East Mid Street. Honorable members, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development comprises major public bodies that implement programs to boost our economic growth. The 2026-27 fiscal estimates for these self-financing bodies, as presented on page 27 through to 91 of the Public Bodies Expenditure and Revenue, includes the Development Bank of Jamaica, the Factories Corporation of Jamaica, the Housing Agency of Jamaica, Port Authority of Jamaica and its subsidiaries, the National Road Operating and Construction Company Limited, and the Urban Development Corporation and its subsidiaries. I assure this Honorable House that our ministry will utilize the allocated funds in the most effective and economical manner. Furthermore, we anticipate seeking additional budgetary support from the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service as we implement our programs and sub-programs with efficiency. We work for the benefit of all Jamaicans and Jamaica itself. Thank you. So, Madam Chair, I now ask you to put the pages.
Members and
Yes. Let me welcome the minister and his staff, entire team that is here. Minister, can you say exactly the amount of Spark program that is completed so far?
I'm going to ask the minister with direct responsibility to get into that point.
Ten minutes? You mean the next 2 hours?
Thank you. So far we have started 163 roads and we have paved 180. Now, I want to add a caveat, 80, sorry. I want to add a caveat to pave the 180. To pave
Put up the mic.
I want to add a caveat to the 80 being paved. So being paved does not always mean the total completion of the road. The road is totally complete when the consultant does a final inspection of the road and hands it over to the government. And even after that, the contractor is still obligated for 1 year for any acts or omissions that may cause damage to the road.
No. I still answer the question.
We paved 80 roads
Out of?
out of 163.
Okay. No, that's what I'm saying. That you don't.
How many
how many completed so far?
So we've paved 63, which are finished for all intents and purposes, but 80 have been paved.
Okay.
63.
Are totally complete
Okay.
based on our knowledge.
I want to ask another question. When we start Spark?
I think we signed the contract in and around December of 2024, but for all intents and purposes, work really began in March 2025.
And your target for this, up to this financial year, the end of the financial year was 40%.
We're supposed to do 40%.
And you're 19%.
No, we're about 21%.
No, you're 19% to your document.
We're 21%.
Your document is saying 19.
The document was done a couple of weeks ago.
19%.
I mean, 1-2% is not
Okay, but if you're at 21 out of 40%,
right,
you're behind schedule.
Of course, we're behind schedule. We had a Category 5 hurricane.
No.
What do you mean,
Category
no?
is,
What do you mean, no?
Before.
Even
What do
before.
you
No,
mean,
no.
Even
Even before.
All
You're
right, so
behind.
if you'll allow me, member. So we started Spark. We signed the contract in around December of 2024. The contractor mobilized over time, and he was able to start the first road, which was in your colleague's constituency, Everest Drive, in East Kingston and Port Royal. That road is complete, by the way. We are happy with the progress of it based on everything that has taken place, and let me explain why I'm happy with the progress. A lot of the roads that we're doing, we never had any designs or maps for them. So the initial assessment of the roads that we started doing was based on an observation of what the road is. When the designers came and they saw that, for example, on Everest Drive, when we started Everest Drive, we did not calculate that we would need a pipeline on Everest Drive. When we started our excavation, we realized that the pipe on Everest Drive had to be replaced because it was an old pipe that probably had asbestos in it. Not only that, but when we started excavating,
Poor planning.
I don't know if you would call it poor planning.
Poor
I
planning.
mean, it's better planning than you did when you were a minister.
No, poor planning.
Much better planning.
No, poor planning.
80 roads in 1 year.
No,
is
but
not poor planning.
but at least, Minister.
So if you'll allow me to finish what I'm saying before your subjective statement. When we were doing Everest Drive, we also realized that several sections of the hillside was unstable, and we had to add retaining walls to the program on Everest Drive in order to protect the house of persons who were there. The fact of the matter is you will never fully know what is taking place until the consultant goes in and starts doing the excavation, the design and the analysis and the soil testing, which is why that is an important component of the Spark program.
So you started at what cost for that road?
It's about 75 million.
And you end that?
It's about 100 now.
And it's not completed?
It is finished. I told you it was complete.
Okay. All right. You start last year with $8 billion on the Spark.
That's correct.
And it was reduced to 5.7?
That's correct.
And this year, as the minister, senior minister said, we are going to move up. Your budget this year is 4.5.
So
not up.
the
No, it's
reality
down.
of it is
No.
the reality of it is that when we realized in consultation with the Ministry of Finance, we would not have been able to spend all the money that we did. So the budget was reduced, and we are actually on target to spend what we have. we are starting several components this year, including the main road component. And we have had consultations with the Ministry of Finance that where the need arises for more resources to complete what has been started, as it is indeed a contract, it will be, the resources will be provided.
So you are moving from the parochial road to the main road?
We're adding the main roads. So the parochial roads will be doing parochial roads and main roads at the same time.
Okay, your Spark is supposed to be completed in 2028?
Yes, but there's also a 1-year defects liability period that is also a part of it.
And you're at 21% to what you're saying now.
Correct.
Or you're expecting in the next 2 years to complete the up to 100%?
Yes, I am expecting it.
How?
How am I expecting it? Because what we're noticing is that as the contractor, because let me give you an example. There was a shortage of equipment. The contractor imported 100 pieces of equipment, which has significantly aided the contractor in starting more roads and completing roads quicker. So now that the contractor has actually become at pace and reach scale, he's able to finish more roads quicker than he was, let's say, 6 months ago.
Yeah, but at the same time, is that you could move much faster if we engage our local contractors as part of it.
Local contractors are a part of the program.
No, but the rates.
The rates is up. The government of Jamaica has a contract with the enterprise contractor, not with local contractors. The local contractors and the enterprise contractor will form their own private arrangements. The government of Jamaica cannot interfere in a contract between private parties.
But who prepared the contract?
What?
Who prepared the contract for the main contractors?
That contract is long prepared and gone. Members and
Chairman, I want to ask the question.
Madam Chairperson.
You can't tell me what to ask.
Mr. Azan, let me explain to you how it works. The government of Jamaica had an international tender with several...
Minister, in responding to that question, please make it very clear as it relates to that contract and which fiscal period it falls under, because the member cannot tell me that he cannot ask a question that does not relate to this fiscal year at all.
No.
So it's latitude.
That's not the point he was making. His point was who negotiated.
You know, Chairman, I think you should listen. I'm asking the minister a question, not you.
And that is not a contract from when that you're asking about. I listen to your question.
No. I think you're
She's preempting it. She's preempting it.
No, you can't tell me what to ask.
Go ahead, Richie.
All right.
Yeah. Minister, I'm saying.
What was your question?
It is so unfair what you're saying that we don't engage the local contractors.
So, remember, there's a thing in contract law called privity of contract. An entity that is not a party to a contract cannot interfere in a contract. The contract is between the government of Jamaica and China Harbour Engineering. It would be illegal and a breach of contract and a breach of the law of contract for the government to go to China Harbour and stay.
It's poor negotiation, yes?
In the first place.
How is it poor negotiation?
In the first place.
So you are better at negotiating than the public sector workers who do this procurement. That's what you're saying.
It is your government.
It's your government.
It's your government.
It was the public sector workers who negotiated the contract,
it is your
not
government. You sign it off. It's cabinet signed it off. So I'm asking you, if you're at 21% now, how you're expecting in the next 3 years?
I'm saying to you that the contractor is at scale, and as time goes by, the contractor increases the pace at which it's completing roads, and he will finish his roads during the contract.
Okay, Minister, will you agree that with the China Harbour contract, most of our Jamaican workers are reduced to flagsmen and flagswomen?
I don't have any data of that. Do you have that data?
Yes.
What is the data?
Majority.
When you go on the projects, it is the Chinese who working, and our workers are flagsmen and
I challenge
flagswomen.
you, member.
Has he done an audit?
you
as is
would
his
need to
responsibility?
you would
Does
need
he
to
care enough
present
to
that
do an audit?
evidence. You cannot come to Parliament
care enough to do
and
an
this
audit
committee with
to protect the
hearsay
workers?
without facts or without evidence. You're making
Has
a
he
statement
done an
based
audit?
on what is not correct.
You have an audit of the persons who work?
No, but you are the one who is making the accusation. You need to provide the
But you're
evidence.
well,
supposed to be
Use
protecting
alleged
No, but you are
must
defend-
prove.
you are-
supposed to be
Minister,
protecting the
Mr.
Jamaican
Azan,
workers.
if you're gonna,
Minister,
madam,
budget.
madam, let me just answer this one statement. If you are going to
No, it's
accuse
truth.
persons of
No.
Asking them
an
how
offense,
many. Ask him
you
then
need to
how
provide the
many.
evidence. You're the one
Ask
making the
him-
accusation,
ask him
and what
how
does that
many.
have to do with the budget that we are
Ask him
discussing?
what is the
What does
What
that
the
have
ratio?
to do with the budget that you're
What is the ratio of Jamaican workers?
Madam Chair, the question that is
You
being
don't,
asked,
I'm
No,
fully
no.
aware.
No,
I'm
Madam
fully aware,
Chair.
Minister.
the question that is asked is what is the ratio of Jamaicans to overseas? I will undertake to provide the honorable member
Okay.
with that information
Right.
as soon as possible.
Thank you. Thank you.
The experience there, Mr.
Do we have the list of Spark Road to be?
But he just politically put it away. But it's okay.
No, it come in.
Fine.
Do you have the list?
It's not just numbers.
Do you have the list of Spark Road to be done this financial year?
So the
Exactly. The poor negotiation.
But this
We
is
are-
not, this is not where we have that discourse.
yes, we have the list of
Not where
spark
we have
roads to
that
be done.
discourse. He's asking more questions.
Minister, what was the damage last hurricane?
Melissa,
To Melissa, the damage, the value?
to the road. To the
Was
road.
that the spark roads or the
No,
other roads?
the national roads. Rate? Rate? I didn't ask about rate.
Ask the boat rate.
I didn't ask
The
about
damage was
rate.
was about
Go back
$35
downstairs.
billion.
Yes. The damage.
I answered you already.
No, I don't hear.
I said it's about $35 billion.
35 billion? How much have been allocated to do the repairs so far?
What do you mean?
How much money?
Money have been allocated to repair.
So
of the
far,
35.
we have allocated $5 billion for various stages of the repair process.
Okay. Okay.
Million?
45 billion, you said. 35 billion and you have 5 billion to do repairs. Yeah. So we have short 30.
And how is that five being?
I don't know if that's a fair comment. I mean, there
Yeah.
are.
You have
different-
35 damage, you
If
get
you'd allow
5.
me, I would love for you to allow me to answer. So, the repairs of roads take different stages.
Yeah.
So, for example, we have to clear, then we have to assess, then we have to design, and then we have to build. So, we will not be able to repair all the roads.
No, I'm
and
not saying
clear
that.
damage.
No, I
We're
never
talking
asked.
about planning and allocation.
I'm just asking what is the allocation.
I am saying to you, $5 billion was allocated
Yes,
for
and
repairs
I'm
of
just
roads
asking
during
what
this
is the next
period.
plan for the other 30. Because our roads are in terrible condition.
The government will make allocations over time to repair the roads.
Okay. Minister, I want to ask over the last financial year, could you say the amount the government collect for gas tax?
I have no idea. I'm not the Minister of Finance. I'm sorry. That was a different ministry.
But the the gas tax is for road maintenance.
What
I-
portion
What portion of it?
I am not aware of that.
they've received?
No.
Chairman? Richard, don't say
No.
don't stop. Talk. Don't listen to me. Don't listen.
Commissioner Warmington, Commissioner.
It's because it's warming. It's because it's warming.
Minister.
Madam Chair, the minister is available to answer questions if the members just allow him.
19,000.
Anyways,
Okay, Minister. Could you
member,
say
member Azan,
how many bridges
Member
were damaged in the
Azan.
hurricane?
member Azan.
Three bridges were damaged during
Can't
the
hear the
hurricane.
question.
Three. Okay.
Member Azan, I'll speak a little louder in the mic. I heard your last question in terms of road repair. I'm
No,
not
he answered.
hearing-
Is that
No,
about
I'm not
bridge?
hearing you, no.
No, I'm asking
of the
about
noise.
bridge and he answered. Okay.
No, I heard that question. I'm not hearing you now because of the
Yeah.
noise. So
Okay, Minister, there was a contract signed about a year or two about some bridge programs across, and you announced about a number of bridges across that will be constructed.
I'm unaware of that contract, sir.
Could you say exactly
I
where
am
we are?
unaware of a contract that was signed as you describe it. I am
He says he's not aware of the contract that it is.
members,
I am
I have sat here and I've heard the minister needing to repeat responses, not even twice, but thrice because of the noise.
The commissioner.
And even questions need to be repeated. In the interest of your own time, it would be good to be quiet and allow members to ask their questions and the ministers to respond.
Minister, of a
Yes,
part
sir.
out of the 5 billion that was allocated, of the 35, how much of it been used to repair road and patch?
much of it will be used to repair roads and patch.
Yes.
For which fiscal year?
I'm asking you, you said that 5 billion out of the 35.
But I'm trying to ask you, we're discussing the budget for 26-27.
So no, that's why.
So I'm trying to
So how
ask
much
if
that?
that 5 billion is not in this budget.
So when it,
Are you asking the question or him?
so where you pull it from and game? Why you mention it?
So the ask for it.
Ask you about the damage.
I'm trying to understand what you're asking. Is your question
All right.
related
Minister,
to this
hold on a
budget?
moment, please. Minister, I think in order to get us under some semblance of control, because I was also of the view that you were speaking about $5 billion in this budget, and that's why I said to Member Azan that you should not ask certain questions, because it literally confuses the House when you refer to periods that are not in this budget book. So what happened is, if you're asking a question, Member Azan,
900.
and the period covers several budget periods, having heard 35 billion over a period, talk about the portion for this year, this fiscal, and what will happen in this fiscal.
I was coming to that.
Long talking you like.
I was coming to that.
Member Azan,
Okay.
Minister, please assist
Okay.
Member Azan. So Member Azan, find where you are coming from and ask for the line item in terms of the amount that is budgeted for this year, how the budgeted figure for this year breaks down in terms of patching work and repair work and bridge work and every work you'd like to ask about.
Okay. Okay, Minister.
Yes, sir.
Of the 987 million in this financial year,
After what?
987 for improvement of main roads.
Right.
But you mentioned before that it was 35.
987, that would not be the correct number, member.
Upcoming financial year is
the maintenance.
987.
The maintenance of secondary roads is about a little bit over $5 billion, which I think that is the area that you're seeking to question me about.
Yes.
So what would you like to know about that?
Of that amount, how much of that will be used to repair the hurricane damaged roads?
All right. So I want you to allow me to explain something to you, just for the benefit of the public, because you and I probably know it already. So when the hurricane took place, the government made a decision that we had to urgently intervene immediately to provide access, especially to areas that were damaged, areas of St. James, Hanover, you know the area. So, so what we did is we had emergency allocation to provide access and build back some of the roads. As time goes by, under various other programs such as NARA, such as our recurrent expenditure and so on, we will allocate more money. For this year's budget, we are going to be looking at some of the most damaged roads and the rehabilitation of them. I cannot say to you that out of the $5 billion, I'm going to allocate 50% or 40%, because that's going to be based on the assessment of what is needed on those roads. Because we still, to be honest with you, have 11 roads that need to be rebuilt, that we're still in the phase of assessing to see how are we going to rebuild them. Are we going to create alternate routes because they are no longer able to properly accommodate traffic, or are we going to try to fix what has been damaged?
But in the meantime,
So I couldn't tell you out of the $5 billion I'm going to spend X amount on Hurricane Melissa damaged road. And as a matter of fact, it's not just the west that got damaged from Melissa. There are many other parishes outside of the west that got damaged. So there are a lot of constituencies outside of those that would demand assistance for roads, sir.
Okay. All right. I will leave the other members to ask questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hutton. Thank you very much. He's my neighbor, you know, though sometimes he doesn't behave that way.
Member Vaz. Member Vaz.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Quickly, Minister. Minister, tell me when you can hear me. When they are finished with talking over there.
I'm listening.
All right, Minister, starting, just taking up from where member from Northwest Clarendon left off with the Spark program. I just want to ask a question to put into context the Spark. What is the total number of roads listed across Jamaica, and what is the kilometer associated with that total? And then tell me what is the total amount of roads associated with the Spark and the amount of kilometers now which will be associated with the Spark program.
He doesn't, actually. This is not the coach, he's a student.
All right. So we have about 26,000 kilometers of roads across the island. We do not assess the number of roads, we assess the amount of kilometers.
All right, so 26,000 kilometers.
Thereabout.
And for Spark, we're doing how many?
We are going to be doing about 630 roads.
No, you said kilometers.
You say you're not the road.
You say you don't know road, so you say kilometer.
Okay, look here.
So there are about 630 roads that we're going to be doing, which are community roads, and about 63 main roads. The reason why the number is 27,000 and not divided into individual roads is that a lot of the roads in Jamaica are not under the governance of NWA. Some of them are private roads, some of them are orphan roads. But as part of our evolution into a proper road management system, the what's the name of the geospatial unit? The National Spatial Unit was sent out to map road distance. But when we did the Spark program, we did a consultation where people chose individual roads. And those are the roads that we're repairing now.
So to answer the question, Minister, you're saying overall there are about 26 kilometers of road. That is overall, not NWA alone.
26,000 kilometers of road.
But for Spark, we are doing 250 kilometers of road. That's
No, I said we're doing 630 roads.
but in kilometers, that is
But
250.
the Spark program was not defined by per kilometer.
No, man, understood. But in the book, it says we will rehabilitate in 250 kilos based on the physical target. So I'm just clarifying if that's the correct information.
Let's say we're doing about 1,200 kilometers of Spark roads.
1,200.
Yes.
So why would the physical target suggest 250? At 19,000 C18, it is saying physical targets initially,
250.
rehabilitation of 250 kilometers of road pavement. So is that an incorrect statement in the budget?
I'm trying to find what you're talking about.
19,000 C18 in the capital budget. Physical targets. Number 7. Yes. So is that an incorrect statement?
That would probably be for the fiscal year, but
Can't be for the
No, man, this is the overall physical targets.
well, that would not be correct.
All right, why it couldn't be for the fiscal years? Because in the same, at number 6 is stating the total amount allocated for Spark, which
No,
is
I'm just
45
saying
billion.
that could not be correct. That
So the
could not-
250 is incorrect.
Yes, that is incorrect.
But the document is incorrect.
Okay. So the real figure should have been what? Let me just add it.
Overall, we're doing 1,200 kilometers of Spark road.
1,200 kilometers. Okay. And you said no for the difference between parochial and main roads. You said 630 parochial and 63 main roads roughly will be the total.
That's correct. That's
All right,
correct.
Minister,
You can't ask.
just to add on to that question, could you tell us the average per constituency that 690 plus roads represent?
So
Is
the
it an
Spark
equal
program is
allocation?
not- the Spark program is not predicated on per kilometer in terms. The Spark program.
We passed that already, Minister.
The Spark program is predicated on the roads suggested in the consultation, where each constituency got 10 roads.
Each 10.
Right. So
the answer is 10 per constituency, Minister.
So there are 10 roads per constituency.
That's all I'm asking, Minister. Okay. Minister, another follow-up question. Based on how I know the system operates, you would have instructed roads to commence. How many roads would you have instructed persons to commence, and what you think would have been a reasonable allocation to complete such?
So we are expecting, we have started 163 roads, which is what we have instructed to commence. And your second question was?
No, I saw an article saying it's instructor 401. So is that incorrect?
No, we're saying by a particular time we will. That's not what we have done.
All right, for the so you have instructed them to commence 120.
63.
163. And what do you think would have been a reasonable allocation to complete this 163?
What is the allocation to complete the 163? That's hard to define as it transcends financial years. I would have to go and look for that information to give to you.
All right, Minister. Ask in the context. I realize that last financial year, it would have been budgeted that 20 billion would have been spent this year and 14 next year to complete. And notice now there's only 4.5 that is really allocated this year. So knowing that is only 4.5 billion allocated for this financial year, what is the reasonable expectation with regards to the amount of roads we can complete in this period?
And did you hear that one? Can you repeat that question for me, please?
Minister, any to repeat that question?
Yes. Repeat that one. I never heard. Sounded too brilliant.
Minister, I'm saying that last time we had predicted to allocate 20 billion for this financial year and 14 next year to complete. Only 4.5 billion is allocated this year. So what is the reasonable expectation of the amount of roads that we can actually complete based on what you're starting in this financial year?
I did say at the beginning that we expect that the contract will be completed, and we have a discussion to the Ministry of Finance where the Ministry of Finance has committed to provide the additional resources to complete the project.
So you're still expecting to complete in the duration that was originally there?
We're expected to complete it within contract, yes.
Okay, I ask that again because I noticed in the budget it is spread out to 2030 with allocations of 4.5 this year. I think next year the allocation is 8, then 12, then 8. So since it has now stretched out to 2030, is it that we are still expecting to complete within the original duration? And why, if that's the case, we have it spread out to 2030?
So
We want anything you know.
So,
It's your purple tie look like you got married.
Yes, Minister.
ready?
I've been ready. Yeah.
So that probably is a projection. What we do know is that we have a binding contract that has a start date and an end date, and the government is obligated and committed to providing the resources to ensure that that contract is fulfilled within the time that is within the contract.
What you mean?
You say it's probably a protection. I'm not understanding what you're saying there, Minister.
What I'm saying to you is that based on the budget trends,
Yes.
and if you can look at the mobile perimeter road as one example, capital funds can be moved from place to place throughout the financial year. So as the Spark program accelerates, the projections that are in the book may not hold true. It may mean that the Ministry of Finance, which they have expressed a willingness to do, will transfer funds as they have done before, which is why we are now at 100% of our capital spending in this ministry. They will give us the funds to complete the program.
This budget was a joke.
These numbers are
Ramping.
part numbers are fair.
Well,
Disagrees with you.
Well, Minister, last question on that. Since we have moved from the 20 to 4.5 for this fiscal year, what estimated fiscal impact you think would happen based on this reduction in capital investment in this financial year?
I must apologize, my colleague. I cannot comment on fiscal impact. That's a matter for the Ministry of Finance.
Okay, Minister. Can you turn to 19,009 in the recurrent bridge rehabilitation and maintenance? Just a question.
Repeat that for me. What was your question?
Capital 19,000.
19,009,
page 9.
activity 10,625 on a bridge rehabilitation and maintenance. Just a couple of questions.
19,009.
Yeah, and a recurrent.
Oh, recurrent.
Yes.
19,000 is capital.
No,
Going back to 19,000, right? Going back to recurrent budget.
okay, you may go ahead.
Page 9.
Minister, the figure for the allocation for bridge rehabilitation, I notice is 240, and it states that there's an allocation in that for 133 to complete the Craig Mill Bridge. So that would leave a remainder of So that would leave a remainder of 127. Is it reasonable to assume that 127 billion would be an average amount to rehabilitate one particular bridge?
No, so this fund
Yes.
that you see here, part of it is for Craig Mill, as you see.
Yes.
There's some for Spring Village, which is in St. Catherine,
Oh,
and there's some for maintenance of other bridges across the island.
okay. I was asking because of the number of bridges across Jamaica that are in a deplorable condition, including some that would have been affected in Hurricane Melissa.
There's a different program for that.
Yeah, I heard you mention earlier that there are only 3 that were damaged in the hurricane. So just for clarification, if you could list those, because I know in my constituency alone there are 2, and we have submitted those. But based on the damages assessed what is the allocation now that you have in place to for that particular program to repair those bridges, not only those damaged in Hurricane Melissa, but those that were long-standing from before?
So the National Works Agency would have about 800 bridges that is in our custody.
Yes.
Annually, we assess about 10% of our bridges. We have a program called the Accelerated Bridge Program, which for this year is going to look at fixing approximately 47 bridges across the island, a large portion of which are in the disaster area. These bridges would have been assessed from before the hurricane. The damage to the 3 bridges during the hurricane were assessed as bridges that were damaged and require intervention.
Okay.
We would not have put out minor damage as damage that require intervention.
Okay. Well, I didn't ask about minor damage. Everything we speak of would be major, like the ones
we
you
have
spoke
three.
about.
We have 3 bridges that were damaged in Melissa that received major damage that require intervention.
All right, last question, Minister. 19,002. I'm going to refer to 19,002 and 19,000 C1. When they head in road construction and repairs. So for 19,002, I noticed that the approved estimates would have had 11 billion. The revised would have had 16. But now the estimates for 26-27 would be down by half, 50% from the revised to 8 billion. And in the capital budget on 19,000 C1, it would have gone down by about 20%. So I'm asking, with the deteriorating road conditions that we have had before Melissa and complicated by Melissa, how do you justify the figure being reduced by such a significant amount for road construction and repairs?
Well, I did say already that the Ministry of Finance does make allocations throughout the year during supplementary estimate as the need arises. And
so why wouldn't it be the original? Since we already know the situation, why wouldn't we have budgeted it for it from now instead of waiting on the supplementary to the stuff like that?
I note your comment, and I'll definitely ask the Ministry of Finance why they didn't do it immediately rather than do it over
Why are
time.
you throwing anti-people under the bus?
All right, thank you, Minister. No further questions.
Farouk.
I've turned on the mic, but I'm not seeing a mic on. So who's turned on? No, one should be red. One should be red. Member Miller. On mean red.
Minister, I'm looking at page 19047.5. That speaks to land tenure. That is 19,047.5. Could the minister indicate how the projected allocation for 2026-27 budget to improve land tenure will tangibly address the long-standing insecurity faced by residents, particularly since Hurricane Melissa?
Member, the specific question, I just want to be sure I have you clearly. You want to know what plans we have to address land tenure, especially after Hurricane Melissa?
The 5%, you have a 5% to improve land tenure by 5% while facilitating optimal use of government-owned lands by 2022. And my question, Minister, how this projected allocation in the budget to improve land tenure will tangibly address the long-standing insecurity faced by residents? Is this enough, given what has happened since Melissa?
Member, thank you very much for your question and also for the support that you are giving in terms that we know that a budget in Jamaica in these times will never be enough. But the challenges that we have and face, this is the best budget that we could present to the country, a very credible budget. And I do understand that right across Jamaica, not only in Hanover, we have persons who would want to have their land tenure issues settled immediately. But I assure you that this government takes the matter extremely important, and that is why there's a special carve-out in the ministry where a minister has overall view of land titling and settlements. And I must assure you that the national land agencies will be stepping up the programs of public education first to say what are the services we offer under the agency. There are two major services, the ad hoc registration and the systematic registration. We do have a program to inform Jamaicans, and we have seen a take-up, especially on the ad hoc, but I must also tell you that the systematic over the last 4 years tend to produce at least twice as much as the ad hoc system, so there's still a lot of room for improvement. And the ad hoc system allows citizens to come to the National Land Agency and to share some of the costs in producing a title, while under the systematic system, it is the government that bears the full responsibility, and that caveat is then lodged on the title, and over time, the citizen will pay what is owed. So I do understand, because even my constituency does suffer from some of the issues you have raised.
Approximately how many households then this 5% captures?
About 5,000 members.
Will priority be given to the hurricane areas, hurricane affected areas?
Yes, yes indeed, yes indeed.
And whether there will be an accelerated program for that?
Yes, because I believe there is. Yes, and I know that the 5 parishes in Western Jamaica will be given priority, and even under, as I had mentioned in my opening statement, that we had to do some reallocation, and the target was mainly for the 5 parishes.
I'm happy to hear that, Minister, and the people down in Hanover who has put me here in the fire, in the heat, is happy to hear that. And I'm here in the kitchen, and I will report to them from the kitchen where it's hot, that they will benefit from this program.
And Madam Member, I hear your passion, and I do share it and appreciate it.
Very well, sir.
You have 10 that I can readily identify. If your mics are not up, it's hard to recognize your intent. So the suggestion is that we attempt to split the questions. So let's complete like either the road questions first with one minister, and then we do all the other questions if you're okay. So I know you want to go back to roads. I suspect we have most of the questions will be on road. No, it wasn't 10. Oh, more went on. More went on. Like, remember Nita Garvey always go on once I count the numbers.
14 including over 3. Who is up next?
Who is up? I guess there are no questions.
Who next?
Some members were suggesting as much, so I'm putting it out to the membership to see if you want to just do all the road questions and then you do the rest. But persons may have questions for both, so I'm going to continue in the way that we have been doing so far. All right? If your mic is not up, I will not know it came on and off. And I feel like we just skipped Portland East, because by the time you pull it up, it's gone. No, he lost his space.
Thank you.
Oh, it was New York? It was your
Chair.
mic?
Yes.
So, his mic just came on. He was on, man.
Thank you, Chair. So the first question, just on the road maintenance aspect of the budget, Minister, is there any allocation for the northern coastal highway, which has some significant compromises along the way?
So yes, there is allocation for it, basic maintenance. There are interventions to take place in that side of the island under the Spark program, but I suspect you're referring to the northeast section of it.
Correct.
That is going to be under some general maintenance through the National Works Agency.
Thank you, Minister. The Spark program, I know it lists 10 roads per constituency. In constituencies such as mine, where residents would have gone on the Spark site and seen 10 roads listed, but the budgetary allocation only covering, say, 4 roads. Do you have any projection in terms of what kind of interventions can be done for those additional 6 roads that are listed but may not be repaired before 2030, roads like Esher to Highgate, for example?
So the entity continues to do work on roads, and we are going to also have a Spark 2, as we have committed to. So some of the roads that are not going to be able to be done under Spark will be done under general maintenance and rehabilitation, and others will be done under Spark 2.
Thanks. So for the senior minister, who is the minister in economic growth? Who is the minister in economic growth with the responsibility for environment and climate matters?
There is none, because that is not a subject area under the ministry.
So to whom does the National Environment and Planning Agency, in its role as administrator for the NRCA Act, report? Who has policy oversight?
With regards to policy oversight for NEPA, that is within the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development. But there is the Ministry of Water, Climate Change and Environment.
So I have some questions relating to NEPA. The fines, the increase in fines for environmental violations that was approved by Cabinet last year, will it be implemented in the new fiscal year?
They have been implemented, member.
They have been. In terms of housing, Minister, there are a number of developments that the ministry would have inherited from different legacy projects. Is there any plan for example, the HAG to intervene where there are infrastructure deficiencies in those housing developments in the coming fiscal year?
Yes, indeed, member.
So communities such as Frontier Phase 2, can they expect some intervention to complete their water and road projects, which are long overdue?
At this point in time, I am not able to tell you when a start-up date, but I can invite you, as we intend to do, members of parliament for consultation as we move to implementation.
Thanks. And will you be able to share just with the House
I most certainly will share with the House, because, for example, member, earlier this week we had a consultation with a number of your colleagues, because the National Land Agency has proposed some action, and we felt it to be prudent to invite the members of parliament and have a consultation with them. And we will continue that program.
Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a few questions for the two ministers. Let me start with the Sunday Gully, which is a pain point for residents of East Central St. Andrew. In discussion with the CEO of NWA, he told me that he would want to spend $20 billion. but he was only allocated $2 billion. Can the minister confirm whether or not that is so? If it is so, what would inform the areas of the gully that you would commence repairs on?
I don't think I understand that question. I'm not hearing that question properly at all, Member Gordon.
Okay, let me repeat. The Sandy Gully is really a sore point for the resident of my constituency, especially in the Kasha Park area. In discussion with the Chief Executive Officer of the NWA, he informed that his own survey would require $20 billion for
That's
repairs.
hearsay.
So I'm asking,
Mr.
Let me finish the question, Minister. Let me finish the question.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. She did that at her own risk. In a discussion, I was told that he would love to spend $20 billion, but he was allocated $2 billion. I'm therefore asking the minister to confirm whether or not that allocation is so. If yes, what would inform where the work commenced?
So, thank you very much, member. You and I have both had conversations, and we both recognize the importance of intervening in the Sandy Gully. The Sandy Gully is not just the Sandy Gully, it's also its tributaries. And we have a plan to do massive works in the Sandy Gully over time. Immediately, though, we're going to be spending approximately $1.3 billion at various sections, including the Kasha Park area, to do emergency repairs in the Sandy Gully. And over time, we'll be allocating more funds to do more repairs throughout the gully network.
So, Minister, for clarity, that $1.3 billion allocation will be done within the Kasha Park section of the gully?
Not only the Kasha Park, but various sections. So the engineers would have identified areas of greatest vulnerability or damage, and they would have directed us, and they would have directed or asked us as policymakers to make an allocation so that they can, based on their professional analysis, intervene in the areas that are most critical and damaged.
Okay. Question for Minister Montague as it relates to the Ricketts Crescent housing development. The Prime Minister broke ground 7 years ago, and we're still in the embryonic stages of the development. I looked through the allocation, and I'm not seeing anything in this fiscal year for completion of that Ricketts Crescent housing development.
It is Ricketts Crescent?
Yes, it is Ricketts.
That is in your constituency?
Yes. Yes. What is housing?
Member, allow me some time to research that and get back to you.
All right. Perhaps if I use the nickname, you will be familiar with it.
No, member, if you will allow the member to ask, because it could be an NHT scheme, so allow us to do some research and carry back accurate information.
Okay.
You have any more questions, Member Gordon?
Let me continue.
Member Gordon, how many questions you have there?
Beg your pardon?
How many questions you have there left?
A few to go.
About how many?
No, there are 4 maximum.
Okay. After you will be Member Buchanan and then Member Crawford.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
My apologies. It's Member Malahoo Fort, then Member Buchanan, then Member Crawford.
Yeah. As it relates to land titling, Minister Montague, the residents of Rome in East Central St. Andrew would love to know when they will have titles in their hands.
Again, member, are you sure this is a Ministry of Housing scheme?
No,
It is not.
no, it's not.
Okay, well, what we will do is consult with you and the NLA so that a suitable meeting can be arranged and they could offer you and your constituents guidance in accessing the services of the National Land Agency to acquire titles for the people of Rome.
So does your portfolio covers housing agency?
Yes.
Okay. So a similar question about those residents who live on Mandela Terrace.
Yes, indeed, Mandela Terrace is an old Operation Pride scheme which falls under the Housing Agency of Jamaica. And we will, member, I give you an undertaking that I'm going to ask the Housing Agency to consult with you. And because as you will appreciate, each scheme, each individual lot of land will have different issues. And we want to work out what is best for the people at Mandela Crescent.
Okay, so my penultimate question is that as it relates to road rehabilitation. There are over 4,000 roads in Kingston and St. Andrew. East Central is oftentimes used as conduit to get from minor roads to major roads and vice versa. And the roads are in bad condition, especially those that are used by the taxi and the minibus operators. Is there anything in the current budget, fiscal year budget, to rehabilitate some of those roads which are not on the Spark program?
So most of the roads in your constituency are under the control and responsibility of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation. The National Works Agency is responsible for main roads, and we do try our best to intervene on the main roads as much as we can wherever we identify challenges.
Right, but let's take, for example, Kencut. The traffic in the evening during Kencut has caused gridlock and disruption for the residents. So I'm wondering if there could be collaboration between the NWA and the municipal corporation to do some work in that particular area.
So most of the roads in the Kencut area are municipal roads. Central Road, Osborne Road, Grove Road. We do from time to time, members, you would know, as the National Works Agency, because we realize the deficit that has occurred, intervene. But we have to ensure that the main thoroughfare where a majority of persons traverse are priority. But we do intervene sometimes in these parochial roads, and we will continue to do so. So I pray for your patience in that regard.
Okay. On the whole question of urban renewal, I have scoped the budget and I have not seen any significant allocation for a planning which would be central to any urban development.
Member, I again thank you for pointing out that matter. As you know, that planning, as you are aware, as a former chairman of the Building and Planning Committee at the municipality, that planning is very important with regards to urban renewal.
Madam Chair, on a point of order.
And yes,
Madam
there
Chair,
is an allocation, but we, like
Madam
you
Chair,
understand.
on a point of order. Madam Chair, the minister is misleading the country. I was never ever the chair of that. So I would love for him to withdraw that statement.
Well, Madam Chair, I will withdraw the I will withdraw the privilege and the honor that I was bestowing upon the
No,
and
that's
the
the privilege.
accolades and apologize unreservedly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good.
But Madam Chair, the minister stated in his opening salvo that urban renewal is a part of his portfolio. And the point I am bringing across that in any consideration, urban renewal will carry a lot of planning. It includes waterways, infrastructure, housing. And I'm a little bit shocked that the minister is now saying that it is not under his portfolio. Planning, if you have urban renewal, planning must be a substantial part of any rollout. So if planning is not with urban renewal, then direct me where?
Member, we have in our portfolio, as we said earlier, and when I was commending you, that urban renewal is here, and we do recognize and agree with you that planning is a very important part of anything, whether urban renewal or even road construction, as Member Azan will assure you. So yes, we agree with you that planning is important, and yes, we agree with you even further to say that we need more funds to deal with the planning. But as you're aware, member, that the country is facing certain challenges at this time, and while we wish to have everything done at once, it is just not possible. And therefore, we are doing the best, and we will, as the ministry has done in the past, work along with the members of parliament in dealing with issues of urban renewal.
Finally, Chairman, 19,002, item 14, physical planning and development. What is allocated as against what is approved and what is revised? I predicate my question about the planning and that it is just inadequate. And I'm wondering, when it was revised, if there was consultation across with Master Builders Association, the Quantity Surveyors Association, and the Physical Planning Association, because it was revised down.
You're saying it was revised down, member?
Yes. Look at what was approved as against what is revised.
Okay. But member, as I said earlier, the figure is 941 million. 941 million, moving up from 699.1. This year it is more than it has ever been, going back to 2024, 2025.
But it ought to be because of Melissa.
So, Minister, member, what exactly is the issue that you'd want us to help you to resolve?
The issue is planning for me is a central part of any redevelopment. And you have revised the planning allocation downwards.
Member, regardless, let us agree that we both agree that planning is important. And let us agree that we do face certain challenges as a government. If we do, this government believes that if we must collect the maximum amount of revenue so that we can spend that revenue back on the communities and on the people. We do not believe that we must spend what we do not have.
You just misplaced.
And that is why the minister this morning was very careful in explaining to some of your colleagues the importance and sought their support with the sugary tax. And we are happy that they agreed with the Honorable. And therefore, what we are saying is that we also have the national spatial unit that is working to develop a national plan for the country to last 30 years. So let us agree that planning is very important and essential.
My final question, as it relates to the Factories Corporation, given the fact that Melissa passes our shores and there is a uptick in demand for our local produce, will the Factories Corporation adjust their rental figure to allow manufacturers more space to increase manufacturing so our export can be beefed up to reduce our trade deficit?
Member, I am being informed that the Factories Corporation do have a policy which has been triggered to grant up to 30% as a concessionary rate, especially in emergencies and national challenges as which we are going through now. And I am also very pleased to inform you that this morning, 8 entities signed leases, long-term leases and contracts with the Factories Corporation to occupy the Morant Bay Urban Center. So thank you very much, Mr. Member God.
Thank you. Thank you too, Minister.
Mr.
Gordon, that is a beautifully new record. Member Malahoo Fort, go right ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you can appreciate, as members of this honorable house, we all come under pressure about roads. So my questions relate to sub-program 20, Land Development and Administration Support, activity 10-600, repairs to roads, activity 10-614, river training, activity 10-625, bridge rehabilitation and maintenance, activity 10-643, cleaning of gullies, activity 10-647, maintenance of secondary roads, activity 10-774, construction, renovation, and improvement, and also in relation to the National Land Agency, the National Works Agency, the National Road Operating and Construction Company Limited.
Can you, member, give us the page that you're on for each question?
1908, beginning.
For each question that you have, please.
1908, beginning.
Okay, I am at 1908.
9. Minister, following on the question that was asked by the member for Westmoreland Central, where you indicated in answer to one of his questions that we have 630 parochial roads and 63 main roads. What is the state of the register of roads that has been promised, and which activity in the budget supports the completion of that work for the register of roads?
Just a clarity, member. I said that we plan to repair 630 municipal roads under the Spark program and 63 main roads under the Spark program. As it relates to your specific question, Cabinet would have approved the policy framework for the One Road Authority under which the road register would come. I want to advise as well that we are already in process through the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development to create the website that will present the public face of the National Road Register, and that will be completed by the latest July.
Thank you, Minister. You have answered one of the sub-part questions, which, in relation to the river training on 1908, how many rivers are to be trained in the financial year, and how much of the sums to be voted, the just over $66 million, how much of this will be allocated towards the Montego River in? For the sum that is to be voted, how many rivers or what length of river would be trained within this financial year?
So we will be doing major works on 3 rivers this year, which is what this budget will accommodate.
And among the 3 is the Montego River one of them?
That is being dealt with under a different program.
Okay. May I ask which program, Minister?
So the challenges with Montego River predicated a detailed engineering assessment to be done. That assessment is taking place currently. It would not be under this item in the budget because the assessment has not been completed, but as soon as it's completed, the entity will make the necessary allocation to execute the works on that river.
Still not sure. All right, moving on to activity 643, the cleaning of gullies. Similarly,
Yes.
Minister,
Which page are you?
over on to 9,
Okay.
1909, activity
I'm here.
10-643, cleaning of gullies. This activity supports the implementation of preventative measures to minimize damage due to flooding and by keeping water channels clear from blockage. The sum to be voted on, just under 203 million. How is that sum arrived at, and how many gullies do we anticipate it will clean to achieve the goal of the preventative, as a preventative measure to minimize damage?
Repeat that last part of your question, member.
Trying to understand, Minister, the sum to be voted on, 202,902 million. How many gullies are to be cleaned by that sum, and what is the method by which the sum is arrived at? Meaning, is it a per, how is it measured?
But remember, the National Works Agency has a myriad of programs that deal with gullies and the cleaning of gullies. This allocation is but one of them, and it does not reflect the quantum that is spent annually by the government as it relates to the cleaning and preventative maintenance of gullies. And as I said to you before, as I said to the House before, where, as occurred in Melissa, we are confronted by urgent events, the government has shown a propensity to make additional allocations to ensure the prevention of disaster in case we need to do additional works in our gullies. So I will not be able to tell you the specific gullies that will be cleaned this year, other than to say that this is the allocation, a part of which we'll be using.
No, Minister, I appreciate that at this level we wouldn't be going into that minutiae, but we have cleaned more gullies than we have ever cleaned before. But the hurricane season last and the upcoming one makes this a matter of concern to all members in this House. And so if there are other sums that are appropriated, the question really is to enable an understanding of the adequacy. And we know that the needs far exceed available resources. But when we go back to our constituencies, we still have to answer the questions and we still have to give explanations.
Remember, I want to really thank you for your acknowledgement that we have cleaned more gullies than any other government. And I want to also,
I want to also remind all members that 3 times for the year, allocations are made to every single constituency in this house to assist in the mitigation that take for the hurricane season. Thank you very much, member.
So, all right. The other question relates to page 19055, activity 10205, rehabilitation and maintenance work. And it says that the activity supports the rehabilitation and maintenance of the nation's arterial, secondary, and tertiary road network in accordance with a rolling program of routine, rehabilitative, and periodic maintenance. And just to focus on the routine maintenance, which is a concern of constituents, the sum to be voted on, how is it anticipated that the sum will be allocated to achieve the goal of routine maintenance within the financial year?
So this sum. Thank you for your question, member. So the allocation, for the most part, is determined by need. We do recognize that there is always a competition for resources, and the experts at the National Works Agency make a determination as to the priority areas that this money will be spent on. Periodically, you will notice that the government does do rehabilitation as well as patching across the island when the need arises. And we have done that consistently for several years, whenever the need arises. So while this money is what is in the budget, we have spent more than that consistently. As a matter of fact, for a comparative analysis, in 2014, we were spending $500 million for routine maintenance. And last year, we spent over $7 billion for routine maintenance.
Thank you, Minister. My second to last question relates to the NROC. The summary of the operational plan that is set out at page 57 in the Public Body's Estimate of Revenue and Expenditure for the coming year indicates that NROC's strategic objective of accelerating development through infrastructure will remain paramount during the 26-27 financial year. And the focus is underscored by the ongoing construction of the Montego Bay Perimeter Road project being executed under a design-build contract with the China Harbour Engineering Company Limited and is scheduled for completion by May 2026. Key activities for the financial year will include review of the finalized detailed design of various sections, including Barnett Street, West Green Avenue, road rehabilitation, the design and construction of the Long Hill bypass. And just because these fall in the constituency of St. James West Central, which I represent, I just wish to ask how much of the construction of the Long Hill bypass is anticipated to be completed by the sums being voted for in this financial year? It's the first part of the
We expect that all of the Long Hill bypass will be concluded with the funds allocated.
Happy to hear, Minister. Thank you. And to ask whether the construction of the Perimeter Road, the timeline has been affected by Hurricane Melissa in any way?
To some extent it has. The revised end date is before the end of this year.
Lastly, in relation to this matter, in respect of the detailed design of various sections of the Barnett Street and the West Green Avenue, whether that takes into account the drainage survey that is being done, and how does that impact on the work of the Barnett Street and West Green Avenue. And just to say that I know the head of NROC is fully aware why these questions are relevant based on a meeting we had last week in the constituency.
So we did finish the drainage study for the project that has informed the design and build out of the project. And we are expected to complete the drainage study for the city of Montego Bay, for the entire Montego Bay by May of this year.
Thank you, Minister.
You're
Last question in relation to the land agency. And just to ask, how much work is expected to be done in communities that have been informally settled, ravaged by the hurricane, on which there is a commitment to rebuild in a different way, including securing land tenure?
Thank you very much, member, for that question. And we want to let you know that again, while we would want to undertake to provide a title this year for every single untitled lot in Jamaica, the 863,000 untitled lots, it is just impossible. So we're asking for your continued patience and understanding as we work with the systematic and the ad hoc system to produce as much titles as is humanly possible.
Member Buchanan?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Minister of Works, I want to start with you. And the question I'm going to ask is in relation to the Port Antonio bypass. So it would be found at 1900 C10. 19,000 C12 actually, because it speaks of Port Antonio bypass and it says 90% complete. The construction is 10% complete and then land acquisition is 5% complete. The first question I'm going to ask is, there is a displacement of 313 housing structures, which averages about 6 persons in each. So not the best at math, but that's about 1,800 persons that will be affected or displaced. Now, the question I'm going to ask, following a consultation with the National Works Agency, which, if you are familiar with movies, the National Work Agency is acting as the Silver Surfer, almost like a destroyer of lives. And they're moving forward in completing the bypass. Just work with me. In relation to acquisition, which is a part of what you're doing, you're sitting beside the minister of responsible for land and housings and the allocations thereof. Was there any contemplation in the budget for a consideration of a replacement value rather than market value?
But that is how the law states, that you contemplate two. You contemplate both values. And in many cases, the government, based on the humanitarian situation and other considerations, does pay out the replacement value in many cases.
Well, I'm happy that you clarified that, Minister, because what the people of Portland Eastern was told was that it is only market value, and market value is not the same as replacement value.
And I can echo, the Prime Minister did have a meeting with the National Works Agency, myself, and the consultants regarding this matter yesterday. And he was very clear and unequivocal in protecting the interests and the rights of the landowners and residents that will be impacted by the bypass. So they can be assured that their government has them front and center, and rather than being silver surfers, we are giants for their rights.
I'm happy you say, I'm very happy you say that. It need to be loud over there, you know, but I'm happy for that. My next question to you, however, is as a giant of defenders of rights, in relation to alternative living, as in alternative lands, and maybe you can pass the question to the Minister of Land, if in relation to the bypass and the magnitude of displacement, if within Port Antonio and Prospect, if persons will have alternative options to acquire land in that space?
Member, I am very, very happy you asked that question. because he knows more than most of us in this house. He knows the law. And he understands that one, you cannot force persons. And two, if you are negotiating with people out of respect and out of legal obligation. And this government, as the minister said, will be the giant, and always will be the giant for people's rights. And we will protect those rights. And we will negotiate because, remember, you understand that every person would have different circumstances. And it's not a one size fit all. But within the boundaries of the law, we will work with the people, work with you as the representative of the people to ensure that all stakeholders are adequately and properly dealt with.
Minister, I appreciate that beautiful response, but I'm making reference to whether lands such as lands in Pontiana Park, lands in Pasley Gardens, lands in Fairy Hill, lands in non-such will be made available for this type of displacement. Understanding the context that we already had experience, Melissa, just last year. It's fresh in our minds. And there are persons who were homeless, which some have families, and as such, it is something that weighs heavily on their mind. So I just want to know that in your capacity, if that is an option on the table, and I will respond thereafter.
Remember, again, you understand that if we are purchasing, so you have to make up your mind, and please, I'm going to ask you to help to guide your constituents. Because if we are going to purchase outright, we cannot provide the alternative accommodation. So if we are going to provide the alternative accommodation, we can't purchase. So we have to make up our minds which one of the tracks we want to run on.
No, an alternative purchasing land and structure is completely different from providing land in the alternative after purchase. And this is in the context. Allow me. This is in the context. This is in the context that one, after consultation with the National Works Agency, it was clear that their mandate was just to build. NLA has not given any consultation as yet. But let me just say this. What is clear is that the principles of recreational holdings apply. I'm now speaking to you in relation to the law. That is where adverse possession is available, if it will be ease of access, because what this type of project has done is thrust persons into pre-litigation phases, negotiation phases that they don't have, not necessarily have the resources, and I'm not seeing anything in the budget, not even from legal aid, that would assist them with the magnitude. I'm talking 319 or 313 persons. So I just want to know if that is an option on the table for this development, this type of improvement to the road.
Now, remember, you know that a bypass like the one that we are contemplated, planned, and have begun, that kind of development will always displace people on one hand, and on the other hand, it will create huge opportunities for others. And therefore, we are open to your suggestions and your ideas and even your guidance. So I am happy you acknowledge that the National Land Agency have not yet begun their consultation. So you have opened the door, and we will hold it open for you to come in and to sit and let us have dialogue.
Minister, I'm so happy that you said that, because what happens...
Chair. Apologies that I have to be utilizing your mic, but just to not infringe on the other persons who've already pressed. We do understand that there are some questions that require expansion, and there are some matters that have underlying issues, but not all of those matters can be treated with here. There are some things that may require follow-up meetings, further discussions with the ministers, but if we are all to take a position that we're going to try to get to the bottom of all the items today in this process, then not just the ministers that I know, parliamentarians, we may be used to this, but bear in mind, we try our best to communicate a schedule. For example, for this ministry, we would have allotted 1 hour and a half, which we believe is more than adequate if people, one, stick to the budget, questions in relation to the budget, and not go over questions that have already been canvassed.
No, well,
So, no, I'm not saying you're doing
okay,
that.
okay.
I'm speaking in general. We are yeah, we are already, yeah, and what it means, what it means, members, what it means, just to put it in perspective, what it means is that the technical teams get here for the scheduled times, and then they are forced to wait. So I say all of this to say to the membership of the House, where we can be more concise, please do. If it requires further interrogation, please have that discussion outside of this forum. Thank you, members.
Very well, Minister. Now, the question in relation to land acquisition, which is at 5%, you can appreciate that we are governed and guided by Section 15 of the Constitution. What is happening here? It would simply mean that the statements were made to the public. Allow me. But yes, statements were made, and what I'm doing, Minister, which is why I'm using this forum while you have the Minister of Works beside you, is to prevent unnecessary litigation in a constitutional space. And so I'm simply asking. You said you left the door open, and you can give me a response that is palatable, so that we do not have to put this matter before the court, because we are guided by the law.
You know, member, I know that you are very competent when it comes down to litigation. And we have a framework that we have used in other areas, other communities. St. Thomas on the North Coast Highway, Long Hill, in terms of engaging community and engaging the representatives of the people. So we want to say, rest assured that the concerns of your people will never be ignored by this government.
Thank you very much for that. And then lastly, my last question to the Minister of Works, if I'm saying that right, NWA boss. The bypass is expected to run drains into outdated drainage system. So there's an anticipation of flooding if those drains aren't updated. I can speak of Port Antonio and Prospect. So specifically, so I just need to know if there's anything in the budget anticipating to correct that and upgrade those drainage. Otherwise, it will affect other properties, the town, and just certainly cause flooding in the long run.
So this is a matter that has been of concern to myself, the National Works Agency, and we have worked with the consultants. We have looked at the watershed area. They have made adjustments to the designs to ensure that no water runoff floods the town or damages property. That is something that we had a long discussion about yesterday, and the solutions were indeed shown to myself and the Prime Minister, and we are satisfied that the solutions will ensure that there's no flooding.
My final question to you for emergency roads such as hospital roads or roads leading to the hospital. I know that those roads that aren't on Spark, if there's anything in the budget that would allow those roads to be attended to because of on a humanitarian basis.
Well, if it is a National Works Agency main road, then you can always engage me as the minister, and I will intervene.
Thank you very much.
Angela?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's, yeah, but Damon gave up his mind.
Some intervening.
Thank you, Minister.
Yes,
Member
leader.
Crawford and then Member Bar. No?
The
Member
President.
Crawford, you're by.
I'm on.
There's one beside.
Hines and then Hines and then.
No, so it's not Hines first. So Member Crawford, then Member Russell, and then Member Hines, and
Thank you.
then Member Brownberg. In the sequence of your mic coming on, I saw your mic on for a while, but it's not coming on. So
Today on Minister's Day, okay? Minister, I want to start with a concern.
Senior or junior?
Wow. I have two educationists to borrow.
Member Crawford have two questions.
No, Sister. Not many though, not many. But Northwest St. Catherine is affected by the highway. And the highway have very excellent drains that end in the communities. Who is responsible for the damage or for the appropriate drainage that should take the water coming from off the highways into these communities without equal level of drainage? Where is that in the budget? Yes, where is that in the budget?
Are you asking for, you need to ask me a specific question. I cannot speak in generality because we have many highways in Jamaica.
Well, the highway to Otrias, what's it called again? Oh, the Edward Siaga Highway.
The one that them see.
The Edward Siaga Highway.
The one that that one.
Is it the what I'm trying to understand, is it the purview of the owners of the highway, or is it the purview of the government as it relates to those outlets of water into our communities?
So the operators of the highway are the ones who maintain the drainage. We have not been made aware of any adverse situations. If you have any, you could surely reach out to us.
Also, I'll have to write to you directly.
No, you can write to NROC. You can call me. I'm always available, as you know.
All right, so we'll write. But so NROC is the duty of the areas within the community that the water lets off the highway. You're saying that is the duty of NROC to.
NROC is not the operator of the highway, you know.
So I'm still asking whose duty it is for those areas.
What I'm saying to you, member, is if you have a specific issue that you're noticing, just reach out to me and I'll reach out to NROC and we will address it as best as possible.
All right, no problem. Minister, there are some low areas in communities that depend on sinkholes and almost like water catchments. But throughout the budget, we saw gully cleaning and all of that, but we saw nothing for sinkhole maintenance and those lowlands like Linstead.
Yes.
Yes, a lot of sinkholes is in Linstead. And the soakaways. Yes.
That's what we call them, sinkhole.
The people up in Ty Dixon call it sinkhole. They need to understand of my lobby.
So, thank you very much, member. And I know that you reached out to me last year about some of your sinkholes.
Yes.
So, we can offer some technical assistance, but you would know that a large percentage of these features are the jurisdiction of the local authorities. But the NWA is always willing to examine them from a technical perspective and assist where we can.
Okay. All right, Minister. I want to go back to something you said following up on the member from Central Westmoreland. Am I correct that you said we have 27,000 kilometers of road?
26 to 27.
Right. And did we hear you say that approximately what percent of those are in some state of disrepair?
But that's difficult to assess because a majority of those, a majority,
that's an estimate percent.
a majority of the roads that are in Jamaica are not under the jurisdiction of the agency of which I oversee. A majority of them are under the jurisdiction of the municipal corporation.
With
and other agencies and private roads and so on. So I would not be able to tell you the state of disrepair for a majority of the roads which are not ours.
No, but Minister, you do have a program called Spark that is seeking to deal with all roads.
No.
Not just yours.
No. We have a program called Spark that is dealing with roads that were recommended in consultation, 10 per constituency, where members of parliament, opposition persons, councillors, civil society groups sat down in a room with the residents and they made recommendations, and those are the roads, not all roads.
Okay, is that they reserved to a particular type of road, those recommendations?
So they were for parochial roads.
Which is parish council roads.
That is correct.
So therefore, I'm still asking, because you have a program that is to encapsulate both parish council and NWA roads, for which you have indicated that you're fixing both. Do you have any idea of the percentage that is in disrepair?
No, I don't.
All right. Did you indicate, therefore, that you thought that the 250 kilometers was incorrect and your correction was 12,000 or 1,200?
1,200.
Minister, when you made that response, I thought it is something that you should just take a look back at the numbers. The percentage looks like something maybe off with it when you divide that by the 26,000. And I think we should leave that.
You're asking my,
No,
I don't
no,
understand.
I think
You're
we
in
should,
the maths
because
class.
it's the second time I've had the concern.
Madam Chairperson, the 26 cannot be divided into the 12.
No,
the 1,200 was the 630.
in total the first time, in the first session, and then went to 1,200 with the correction and the division.
I suspect we will review it.
So I think we should go back to that afterwards, yeah.
So, Madam Speaker, I'm not sure if you're offering the answer, but okay. So we're confirmed that we have 27,000 kilometers of roads. Current conversation is that the Spark program is targeting 1,200.
No. 630 municipal roads.
Kilometers.
630 individual municipal roads. 63 main roads, cumulatively 1,200 kilometers of road.
I think we're on the same page. So you are targeting to improve 1,200 kilometers of road?
Under the Spark program?
Yes, under the Spark program. So do you recognize that that is a 4% of the total roads that you have identified?
Yes, if your assumption is that the only program repairing roads in Jamaica is Spark, which would be a gross inaccuracy.
Would you agree, Minister, that the Spark is the dominant investment as it relates to road infrastructure over the next 3 years?
No. We're spending more on capital projects cumulatively than on Spark.
But is Spark the dominant program?
It cannot be the dominant when we're spending more on capital projects. We're fixing Outerwind Drive, we're fixing Hellshaw, we're fixing Grange Lane, we're fixing Mobile Perimeter Road, we're fixing Brayton, we're fixing Long Hill, Barnett Street, and there are also other programs under the National Works Agency, routine maintenance, where we're fixing roads. So Spark is not the dominant program. As a matter of fact, if you add up all the money that we're spending on roads in Jamaica, it's more than what we're spending with Spark.
Okay, all right, I'll accept that. Minister, you indicated that the contract was signed in 2004. Work started in March 2025.
2024.
2024, and work started in March 2025. The first 2 years you indicated, Minister, was for actual works, and the final year, the third year, was to ensure that the work was completed in appropriate manner.
That's
Am
not
I
what I
correct?
said.
Can
That's
you
not what
remind
I
us?
said.
Mhm.
The first 2 years will be where work is done. The third year is a defects liability period. But based on the contract, I will add to you that works can happen in the defects liability period as well.
Okay, so
But
works.
it's a 2-year contract.
Okay. Is there any obligation to the government if we miss that period?
If who misses that period?
If we are incapable to fund the completion of those works in that
The
period?
government